Arben spat in the direction of the building. It disappeared into the snow on the pavement. He looked over his shoulder to search the shadows. No one in sight. But he knew they'd be there, watching. At first glance, Arben's hotel room looked just as tidy as he'd left it. Despite the housemaid's best efforts, the smell of air freshener and bathroom cleaner failed to mask the background odours of damp carpet and mildew. Arben drew open the door of the wardrobe. His coat was still there. He laid it on the bed and ran his fingers over the satin lining. When he felt the package, he whispered an elated, "Yes." He dragged the serrated brass teeth of the door key across the cotton threads holding the seam. The stitches parted. Inserting thumb and forefinger into the gap, he clamped onto the edge of an envelope and pulled it out. €2,000 and his New Zealand passport were inside it. The police had confiscated the Serbian passport he'd used to enter Kosovo. The corrupt bastards could keep it for all he cared. On the bedside table, a silver photo frame lay face down. He extended the plastic flap at the back and stood it up in the space next to the telephone. There was no resisting an urge to reach out and run a finger across the images of his wife and children behind the protective glass. "I'll be home soon," he whispered. "I love you." He kicked off his shoes. The malodorous clothes he'd worn the past week followed. When he was naked, he dumped the filthy pile into the plastic bin by the door. He sank into the downy duvet on the bed. It would be so easy to collapse there and sleep. "Keep moving, Arben. Don't stop now," he muttered. In the bathroom, he turned on the basin's tap and scooped water over his head. The haggard, unshaven face looking back at him through the mist on the mirror shocked him. He wiped the glass and leaned closer. Eyes had puffed up. Skin looked bruised with fatigue. He soaped his face. None too gently, he dragged the razor across his stubble. Damn it. He ripped off a piece of toilet paper and dabbed away fresh blood. Damn. The headache that had plagued him all day returned. Dropping the bloodied paper to the floor, he massaged his forehead. It had no effect. He needed painkillers. A search through his toilet bag proved fruitless. He slammed his fist against the wall, then leaned on the basin and closed his eyes. His mind drifted back to the days of his youth, of hunting with his father and grandfather in the mountains on the border with Macedonia. Freezing winds had howled through the rocky crevices, chilling his bones until he thought they might snap. The pain had made him cry, but never had he experienced such misery as now. Shaving done, he stepped into the shower. Water sprayed over him in erratic bursts. At least it was hot. Frozen limbs began to thaw. The hot shower and a change of clothes lifted Arben's spirits. As he trundled his bag across to reception, new vitality returned to his step. The sense of freedom, now so close, had beaten off fatigue for the moment. A squeaky suitcase wheel alerted the duty manager of his approach. "Mr. Shala, we haven't seen you for some days." Arben's response was little more than a curl of the lips. Not quite a smile, but it would do. "Have you been travelling?" Arben knew that nothing happened in Kosovo hotels that managers did not know about, and that hotel staff had no qualms supplementing their meagre incomes by spying for anyone prepared to pay them. This conversation was a reminder that he still needed to be on his guard. "May I have my bill?" asked Arben. "You are leaving Kosovo?" A shake of the head. "I've met a friend from the old days. He has an apartment near Kamenic. I'm going to stay with him." "How nice for you." The stocky manager's greying head dropped as he thumbed through a stack of documents. An invoice came to light. "Here it is. Would you like the hotel driver to drop you somewhere? The bus station, perhaps?" Arben hadn't anticipated this offer. My friend's waiting at a cafe. A short walk from here." "Wonderful." Arben gave the invoice a quick scan, then dumped a handful of euros onto the counter. Pocketing the receipt, he grabbed the handle of his bag and wheeled it towards the door. "Please come again," the duty manager called after him. Arben didn't bother to reply. At the door, a pair of gloves and a woolen hat came out of his overcoat pocket. He pulled the hat down over his ears. Gloved and warm, Arben stepped out into the cold with his bag trailing behind him. The snowfall had become heavier. A street seller at the bottom of the lane was keeping himself warm by swinging his arms like propellers. Arben bought a phone card from him. The intrepid entrepreneur withheld Arben's change. He lifted a cloth covering a small wooden crate to reveal a stack of cigarettes.